Yeah, I just wonder if like the CIA cold calls people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Hey, this is Agent John. We've seen your credentials. You're a good sharpshooter. We'd love for you to come in for an interview. Guys, welcome to partONE podcast. This is our first ever boys talk. We're just hanging out with the three hosts. We don't have a guest on. So you guys are stuck with us on this episode. So I don't know what we were just talking about. Oh, we were talking about what the goal is and what the vision is of this podcast and what we would like it to generate long term.
That's true. That's true. I think we're just getting it down here. So
this is raw.
It's
like
pretty raw and it's pretty
talked
unrefined.
Yeah.
Ilya, what is your take on it? What is your goal or vision in a couple words?
We want to have clout behind us so that we can talk to influential people. My main goal about it, and everything stems from it. So like, you have to make money for this. You have to have a big following for this. But I want to talk to influential people. Like, I want to talk to the most famous people in the world. I think that'd be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that'd be
a good goal.
So it's to talk. So it's to talk to the most influential people.
Well, because you got to see everything stemmed from it. Okay, let's say we have, this is a crazy guess, but let's say we have PBD on, right? Patrick,
That would be a
right?
crazy
Now,
guest.
you have
One
that.
day.
You get to have a sick conversation with him. Plus, you just made a connection. You're gonna your network of people just grew, and networking is everything. Like from the even 11, 12 podcasts that we have put up, bro. Like there's 2 or 3 people. Like shout out Lance White. Bro, I've networked with him. He helped me find our first house to flip. You know what I mean? And this it wouldn't have happened if I didn't film that podcast with him. I wouldn't have had that connection.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
So I think networking is like big, and I think it's
So it is a networking tool first and foremost.
as of right now, yes. Well, actually, long term, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Long term.
Yeah.
Okay. What's yours?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Top is talk to really cool people. Number 2, it'd be cool to get it monetized. And I'll tell you why. Because the goal of like just doing something for a really long time just to talk to people and have a good time is cool and all. But when there's money behind it, there's a different kind of drive.
True.
There's a different kind of like pressure to perform. And I feel like when I talk about things that I don't get paid for, like fishing, kayaking,
Reconnect.
you know what I mean? Like if I don't go, that's fine. If I don't go, that's fine. No problem. You know what I mean? But like, I don't want to have that same feeling with this podcast. If I know that like, hey, episode 21, episode 55 might have the potential to get monetized, make some money on it, you bet I'm not changing my schedule. I'm going to be there.
So that's one thing right before you say your vision is, okay, if you had to choose to go to work at Advantage. Hold on. To go to work at Advantage, you're making the same amount of money. And let's say comes in and your partner comes in and he's like, hey, you're either invested in Advantage or you're invested in your podcast. And it's making an equal amount of money. Which one do you choose?
It is making an equal amount of, or I am making an equal amount of money from it?
You are making an equal amount of money from it.
That's really hard.
That is very hard.
That's a great question.
I don't even know if I would be able to answer that.
I don't know, man. That's
Loaded question, huh?
okay. The
'Cause
question
you like to talk. That's no secret.
Okay, everyone would, especially in our generation, would love to be a podcast host or an influencer or a YouTuber because it's like you know what I mean. You're just in front of a camera and you do it.
Yeah,
and
you like to feel important, and
Right.
when other people follow you, they make you feel important.
right. Okay, like yes, to an extent. Obviously, like that's not where you should get all of it, but
Yeah, but
yes.
I mean that's a part. That's toxic culture currently. That's
right.
what it is.
So, but the
Set
thing
immediate
is,
validation.
the thing is, like
I like that. We should talk about that.
the thing is, so okay, so I have thought about this because in my career and even just in everyone's career, I think you get your goals, what's really important to you, the important aspect, and then you pivot based as long as those things don't change. So hypothetically, if you are, let's say you want your own business, right? You don't know what, but you just know you don't want a boss. You don't want anybody to tell you what to do. It doesn't really matter what business you start as long as nobody tells you what to do and you're your own boss. Now, what that does is that it allows you to make really big decisions very simply. Like that question of like, and then you said like also the validation from other people, right?
Yeah, hold on. You're going off topic, bro.
Okay, yeah.
What are your goals for this podcast? Because
Okay.
the validation from other people is a big topic that we should dive into. But what is your vision for the podcast, if any?
My vision for the podcast, honestly, it's really important to me just from it is to have awesome conversations that other people can really get value from. That's like, to me, more important than anything else. When people, like when we're talking, the people that are listening, I want them to get value from it. I want them to live through that conversation. I want them to be in the same room as us and be like, man, I've thought about the exact same thing, right? Because the thing is, in terms of providing value, networking, amazing. Monetizing, amazing. All that stuff. But without providing value to regular people that are actually listening, what the fudge does it matter? You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah, it sounds like we all have like the same top goal.
No,
Yeah.
the
We
value
should
is
write
the
a
big one. The
write
value
a
is the big one.
mission statement
Without
for this.
without it having value for someone, it's basically
What does it
worthless.
matter? We're just
Literally.
talking to ourselves.
Yeah.
You know what
We
I
might
mean?
as well not.
We're
publish
literally
it.
talking to ourselves.
So we thought we were interesting, so we wanted to hear.
That's why we did podcasts.
You were talking about
So let's talk. Okay, so actually, we weren't planning to talk about this, but let's talk about it. Okay,
Yeah.
What are the things that are important for you? With even if your business were just to disappear, the things like, let's call it even 1 or 2 or 3 things that are important that you would have to have in your career. Right? I'll tell you mine. Okay, mine, number 1, I need to have unlimited opportunity to grow. I can't be in a safe business. I'm willing to take a lot more risk, but and I'm okay with working for someone. That's the difference between you and I.
I don't see you as a big risk taker, though. I think you're very, very, very like calculated in the
So,
agree.
okay, we'll talk
I
about that
wouldn't
later.
even say strategic. I just think calculated.
Okay, we'll talk about all that later. But my thing is like I want the opportunity to be totally up. I can't be in a place that's dead end. And I can't be in a small market.
Like opportunity as in like to become like CEO
No.
or to like have a really large market cap.
No, like my position, like I don't want there to be like a cap on my salary or a cap on my bonus or a cap on my commission. I can't. I can't, okay? That would kill all motivation for me, so and it wouldn't really matter where I'm working. That's a no-brainer. Like it has to be. Another one that I'm okay with it. I'm very okay with delayed gratification and delayed reward, but it has to come. If it's not anywhere in the horizon, I do want someone at the very least to be like, okay,
That's
you get
super subjective. You can't say that you're okay with delayed gratification. Okay, so let's put it in this way.
Can I not just say my 3?
Okay, wait, you're 3 of what?
My 3 things that are important to me that regardless what
Okay,
industry,
go.
I need them, right?
Go. My bad.
Goodness, can't help.
That's
Can't-
number 1. Number 2.
No, okay, so
That wasn't number 1, was it?
no, that number 1 is unlimited opportunity. Number 2 is
This is why we have you on the podcast, Dad. Long-winded.
Number 2 is have to be like recognized at some point. It could be 20 years down the line, but I have to be. And then I would say 3rd, I want to play I want to do big things. I don't want to play small. Like as much as I want to have my own vending machine company, like, you know what I mean? It's too small. I want to play big. I want to play with real markets, real industries, right? Like stuff like that. So I want to be big, and I don't care what industry, market, company. I would go to anyone as long as those 3 check. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
So what's your thing that you'd have to have it? I'm assuming both of you guys I don't want anyone to be a boss of me.
Maybe earlier on, I'm more okay with it now, but I don't know about the boss side of it. I would.
So you'd work for someone.
I'd partner with someone.
For someone. No. That's the key. For someone. Because, look, I'm
well,
partnered too, but
Technically, you're working for your customers.
Yeah, but
Right?
exactly. I was gonna say
I know,
it's
I know.
subjective because you always work.
It's
for somebody.
something that I've never, sorry, you go ahead.
Yeah, bastard.
My bad.
Shut your mouth. So if I work for someone, I have to be very aligned in their vision. Okay,
Yeah.
so I can't work for someone that is dying, is aging, is coming toward retirement because their lack of drive is gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not going to be growing their company anymore. So I have to be given the control to be able to grow it.
Yeah.
And then I can work for somebody, sure. But I have to be giving, managing control.
Okay.
So I'm not really against working for someone as long as their vision aligns with mine.
Yeah.
Because, I do see the impact of partnering, working with someone to have a bigger impact. So going into one of my big reasons, and this has, it's been something that's really changed in me in the past 2 years, And it's not a green play, but it's something that's going to have influence over the world. So something that can actually affect the world. You know what I mean? It's huge. It's very ambitious. But like, look, recycling electronics. It's the biggest growing market probably in the entire world right now, tech. All of that tech has to go somewhere. And you're like, all tech has super harmful things in it. You know, you can't just throw it in the ocean. You can't even throw it into the ground because it spreads into like groundwater, all of that stuff. So it has to be taken care of. And like ways right now that's being done is they get shredded, separated, like you reuse all of it, you know, or ITAD where you're reusing the machines and you're exporting it to different countries. Not to mention that tech is made by like homies in different countries that are dying for it, like in Africa where you're mining for it and like people are like breathing in all these fumes. Anyway, so that's in the past 2 years that has really changed, and that's why we took such a big jump into recycling is I wanted to have an actual effect. Second thing is and it kind of goes into the whole thing of like being your own boss, but I will have to have freedom over my schedule. It's a big one. It's not necessarily working for someone or anything like that, but I have to have freedom of my schedule. So if I decide, hey, tomorrow I want to spend some time with my family, I should be able to do that without really having to like, oh, my boss doesn't let me do that. Like I want to be able to do that. Or, hey, I want to hop over into Brazil and I want to do a trip there, missions trip. I want freedom of my schedule. That's another thing that's super big to me. I don't know.
So those are your non-negotiables.
Those are my
has to affect the planet. Has to be
affect the planet. Like
it has to match the vision you want, and it has to. You have to own your own time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, those are really good, man. My top one, man. It wasn't supposed to be this deep. I was going to say make a bunch of money, but
as long as I'm making all the money,
no, man.
I'm
I
good.
think super important is obviously it has to be able to provide for my family. You know, I don't want anything that's like, oh, I don't know if it's going to.
Smithfield could do that. That's not.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not opposed to working in a company. I'm not opposed to obviously starting a company. I do want it to be able to provide for me and my family. Like, I don't want to worry about money. Another big thing is I want to have time to do my hobbies. My wife was telling me I've got a lot of hobbies.
I like for that conversation. That was a tough convo to hear.
Yeah, apparently I like to do a lot of stuff like podcasts and work and kayak. Who cares about that? No, like I love to go fishing. I love to go kayaking. You know, I like to spend time with my daughter. Like we'll go fishing once in a while together. And I don't want to be like, oh man, I got to go to work. I got this 9 to 5 to do for sure 5 or 6 days a week.
Yeah.
So being free is like a big one.
So you want to own your own time too?
Yeah, I don't know of anyone that doesn't.
That kind of goes into providing for your family because it's like if you put it all together, like what does that mean? Providing for your family. It's not so base level as just money. Yes, that's the first step, but dude, like being an absent father sucks balls too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's
not
true.
being there for your wife sucks balls too. You know what I mean. So it's like being there for your family as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to be able to share that with like my family, and I want the whatever I do for it to be ethical and morally right. Like I don't want to be like,
I hope so.
Hey, I'm making money, but I can't really tell you what I'm doing. Like I want to be able to share my life with my wife and my kids. That's like super important to me too. That everything's like ethically sound.
So if you're a criminal, stop it.
Like even in regular business, I mean, you're faking invoices. You're not. You're not paying taxes or you're changing logbook times.
See, but that's a crazy thing. Dead serious. Today.
Start a timer.
I did.
Today, literally today in logbooks, like specifically, I'm flying someone from Seattle back home.
That's
just
crazy.
Not to mess with it.
Well, I know Oleg talked about that in his podcast. Like that was a big jump is to like do everything ethically, especially on the e-logs.
Well, yeah, it's just
a
like
bunch of trucking companies don't.
There's plenty to do. It's just like you have to work within the bounds, and you sacrifice a lot of things just so that's right. People get pissed off, but you have to just manage it, which we've gotten really good at. Like back in the day when we were messing with a lot of logs and stuff, bro, it was like, how is anyone doing this? This is impossible. And then you're like, okay, all right, well, this is definitely doable once you like figure out plans and stuff like that, and training and whatnot. Okay, so anyway, that's
before we hop in. I mean, we're just gonna do this right now. This is our new host.
I was about to.
Oh, you were about to?
Go for it.
This is our new host, David Dubina. He is the owner of Modern Press and the owner of the studio. So we have welcomed him onto partONE podcast, and I'm sure sometime here in the future we'll talk a little bit about his story. But David, welcome to partONE podcast.
Thank you guys for having me. My name is David. like he just said. My company is Modern Press. However, the website is alldaydtf.com. So if you wanted to know what I do, go to alldaydtf.com.
What does all day DTF stand for?
I'm glad you asked. So all day direct to film is the acronym. Essentially, it's just a bunch of cool designs on a film that you can put on a t-shirt. You can decorate apparel with direct to film. So when I say DTF, get your minds out of the gutter. It's direct to film.
Right on, right on. David actually does make the merch for both of our companies, and
That's true.
pretty much a ton of companies here in Lincoln.
Well, to give him a little more credit, he's not just making shirts, right? He's providing businesses with the screen printing so that they don't have to do it, right? That's what direct to film is. So your main customer is not necessarily the consumer; it's more business to business.
Yeah, the goal is the B2B because you want people who already know what they're doing to set these things up, and I can just ship it to them. One big thing with B2B is these people usually know what they're doing. They're usually willing to spend a lot of money and usually pay their invoices on time. So with like a lot of customer stuff, you have to, I don't know, I feel like whenever you're talking to like an end user, you have to be a different person. Like you can't really like talk to them how it is.
Yeah.
I mean, like I can go to a business and be like, hey, I don't know, we've got all these designs that we can print for you. Just send it to us. We'll take care of it. With a customer, you have to almost like educate them on what you do. And then you have to kind of give them avenues.
You have to sell them.
Yeah, you got to give them avenues around to like how to use it with the stuff that they have at home.
Yeah.
Which is like.
Yeah, and I love that you even brought that up. Like, ideally, everyone wants to work B2B, and you were even talking about paying invoices, and that's the harsh reality of small businesses, and like you want to work business to business because they understand like the effects of the markets. For example, like, and this is the toughest part of small businesses. If you don't get paid, your vendors don't get paid.
Yeah.
And that puts a ton of stress, especially being a small business now. Kind of when you grow into a medium-sized business where you have an accounting department, you have a finance department taking all of it, everything gets paid. But as a small business, you have one vendor not paying you whatever they owe you, and that's affecting the vendors you owe money. And then you're like, dang, like I'm late, they're late. And what are you going to tell the business? Your vendor be like, hey, bro, I didn't get paid, so I can't pay you, Most of the times they understand, been in that situation, unfortunately, before, but that's the other caveat to the business to business. Customers usually pay before. Like you don't ship anything until they pay. You know what I mean? Business to business is you got net terms, you have relationship building.
Exactly.
There.
You get bigger numbers, but you also get bigger like problems.
Liabilities.
Yeah, liabilities.
So here's a question just about cash flow management in general. How is it important for you guys to have that buffer, and how do you create it? Because one thing that is that business, like your cash flow is going to go up and down. Even if you have steady, someone's not going to pay. Someone's going to get screwed. Something's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in this economy, someone ain't getting paid.
Right.
That's for sure.
Net 30 means 30.
Yeah, 2024 was net 60, 2025 the year net 90.
Right. So here's the question. So do you in your guys' businesses have a, call it a buffer or a certain amount of money that just sits
No.
in case things happen?
No.
Ideally, yes.
Ideally,
So
yes.
so okay, follow up.
Okay. Like for me personally, I would love a buffer bank account, right?
Yeah.
And
So it's called a line of credit, brother.
Yeah, see, that was just about to go into that.
That's the hard part is, bro, whenever you have cash, it's like being entrepreneurs, like
you're
you have
gonna
cash
use
in-
it.
Yeah, you're gonna see an opportunity, and there's always opportunity, and you always want to capitalize on it.
Yeah, it depends on what kind of like entrepreneur you are. Some people are real like risky. They'll jump into it right away. Like I feel like myself, if I had, X amount of money sitting in an account, I'd be like, man, I got to go put this to work. I'll go start something or do something. But like 9 months down the road, when it's January in the printing world, January is like awful.
Yeah.
When it's January, I'm like, man, I wish I had
a little bit.
50K in the account that I can just float through January.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that aspect where it's like, because that's how we do it as well. We've talked about it. We've definitely discussed like, hey, we want to have a buffer because get killed on certain months, and it's like, all right,
Sucks
we
to
may
be
not
honest.
even survive.
Yeah.
And it's like, and so, but the thing is,
Like when we say buffer, I mean like
I mean
an emergency.
an emergency fund. Call it.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
See, so yeah, and the thing is, because all that money goes somewhere, and if it's just sitting, it's gonna go somewhere, right? And like because the thing is, as you grow and the bigger you get, there's no real way to just keep that certain money. That money's going to go there and there and there. And,
dude, and you go so numb to it. And it's like, especially being a business owner, man, that does kind of like reflect on your personal finances too, because it's not that you get numb to money, but your perception of money changes. Like, it's like Monday, you can start off with negative $2,000. Wednesday, you can have $100,000 in your account. And then Friday, you're back to $2,000. You know what I mean? Like, that's like,
that cash account is crazy because
that's like,
it doesn't, it really doesn't mean anything.
It's a freaking roller coaster. You're just watching, you're like, God, what is going on?
I'm rich. I'm poor. I'm rich.
You come in and you're like, for us, it's like fuel. It's like you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars a week. And there's like, there's times where you'll like literally look and account will look great. And then the next morning, log in and it's like, what happened? It's like, how are we in single digits?
Yeah.
What is going on?
Said, hey,
we just had a deposit. What? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, okay, so cash flow management as a small business, what's your number one advice that you would give?
Definitely, and this is something that we implemented in our company, is we have a lot of my finances we do biweekly. So I sit down with the other owner of the company, and we write down, and it's on a spreadsheet, like every single thing that needs to get paid in the next 2 weeks, how much. It's like, you might have something left over, you might not have anything left over, you might be late on some stuff, but you know exactly what needs to happen. So I think there is absolutely no way you can avoid at least having some sort of budget. And I don't mean like budget that you stick to, but like an expense report.
Yeah, the biggest thing is know what's going to get pulled out of your account that week, at least that week. So that way you can at least plan for it, you know, because you might have a bunch of money in the beginning of the week, and you're like, man, I'm good, and you go buy a new machine. Thursday rolls around, and it's like, oh, shoot, I forgot rent was due, or what this utility is getting pulled out, and now you're negative, or you're like down to nothing.
Dude, and I've talked to a lot of business owners too, and it's like, and recently we've been talking to my CPA a lot too. It's like, that's what sneaks up on you. You think you have the money, and then you, like, with that assumption, you make purchases, and then you get caught with your tail in your hand. You know?
Good advice is be slow to spend.
Yeah, just know what you're spending. Don't think that you have the money. Like, you're taking loans, be like, oh, I make $300K a month. I can afford this cash flow. Brother, do the numbers. Can you actually afford it?
Speaking of cash flow,
YouTube sucks.
Speaking of cash flow, imagine getting banned on social media and say you're making a ton of money.
Bro, or demonetized. Like, that happens to a lot of people. You know, us being such a small YouTube channel, I hate the fact that we face some of that sometimes. Actually, we just faced it for the first time without saying names, because apparently I can't say names. Our last video, which was honest to God one of my favorite podcasts that we ever filmed, got basically like shadow banned or whatever, but it got like, we can't promote it, which we just started promoting a little bit so that we can grow the podcast, but we can't promote it. It's got the least amount of views out of all of our videos, like a suspicious amount. Like, all our videos organically do, like, it's not crazy, like 250 views, right? This one has 55. Yeah. It's a great podcast. Like, it's an amazing podcast.
And it's been up for what, a week and a half?
Yeah, like, it's been up for a minute. But it's like, just because we said certain people's names and certain correct opinions, I feel like we're getting tossed aside here. Yeah. So, because like, and I even put a short up talking about that specific, got 8 views on the short, put a different short up, not talking about that, thousands of views right away. It's suspicious, right?
Going on.
It's like, dang, bro. It's
like the whole Voldemort thing. Like, can't really talk about it.
Yeah.
But it really seems,
the name that cannot be said.
Right. But it seems like something's going on.
Something's up.
And I don't really know how to talk about it, but let's just say off camera, we talking about it a lot.
Yeah, it's weird.
Go check out that previous video. Let's shove it into their faces.
Yeah, it's weird because, like, we're not a big podcast either. You know what I mean? You would, like, who cares? Why are you shadow banning us? Like, we are not lawyers. We are nobody. We are just 3 dudes
We have
talking.
opinions.
Yep.
Yeah, so basically we just want to be on YouTube's grade A list. You know, we want to get our content out to you guys. Yep. And, you know, we love seeing when you guys are liking, when you guys are commenting. You know, if there's someone you guys want on the podcast, or there's a topic you want to hear us talk about, comment that junk up in this video. Like this video up. Let us know you're here. It helps. It shows us. It motivates us to film more.
100%. 100%. There's a,
So you all seen the tariffs that we're getting hit with. We need the help. We're trying to get monetized.
yeah. No, actually, speaking of tariffs, specifically speaking of tariffs, they're such a huge thing. Obviously, there is a slowdown and a pause on them, but
As of what, yesterday?
as of yesterday,
Pretty gangster. I like what he did there.
Well, so we can talk about that. What specifically is your guys' opinions on them, on the tariffs, and also across the board? How are they affecting you? Are they not affecting you? Are they going to matter?
Well,
not matter?
I think in the long scheme of things, it's a good thing. However, this is going to sound super patriotic. Can America survive this time of, I don't know if you want to call it a tariff war, but this time of trade wars or renegotiations of tariffs? Because there's a lot of history. America's been shafted pretty hard with tariffs just because the First World War, the Second World War, all these wars that happened, we've never lowered tariffs that are coming into the country. But we've also not tariffed other countries as much just to help them rebuild after these wars. There's a cool video I watched.
Yeah.
But it's essentially, I think it's just a rebalancing is what's happening, and it's probably going to be hard for like a year, maybe two. And I think in the long term of things, it'll probably benefit America pretty greatly.
Yeah, no, tariffs ain't fun. Definitely affecting us. We bought a lot of our parts for the equipment we refurbished from China. And we had to put a pause on all of that just because, dude, it's a 125% tariff now from China. That's crazy,
That's
you know
nuts.
what I mean? And it's like, it sucks that that's happening. And my true-blooded patriarchy, is
Patriotic.
patriarchy.
He said patriotic.
Yeah, I said patriarchy. My true-blooded patriotism
There you go.
it says go all in, and like I like what we're doing and I like that we're balancing it all out, but does it suck? Like it stings at first, of course. I like what the current member that makes the decisions for our country did. Where he's like, anybody that didn't retaliate on the tariffs, we put a pause on them and a 10% reduction. That's gangster. Like that's what's up. He's like, it's a show of good faith. And then like China over here, we're like, screw you guys. We're going to go ban for ban. We're literally going for ban with China.
Well,
right
I
now.
mean, if you think about it, I mean, America and China are two very big superpowers. They can fight. It just depends on who's going to cave first.
So
there is a very interesting theory, maybe conspiracy going on right now about what's happening. And the idea is basically because a lot of the people that are being put in place for like manufacturing in the United States right now because of these trade wars, because of these tariffs, are people that are like tech conglomerates, big AI guys. So the theory is like, hey, you bring it back to America and you're going to get government funded for it. Obviously, Americans will be like, hey, anybody who manufactures, here's grants, right? It's going to happen, watch. But all of these people that don't have to pay for the facilities to be built are also going to be integrating tech, as in robots, AI, and it kind of removes the need for people. Like there's a whole theory going on and conspiracy going on that all of it's going to be moved here. Dude, we're about to do a massive...
It'll shift. I think we're still going to need people.
No, we're definitely in a big boom, like a big jump in tech right now.
Think about the .com movement. Everybody thought, oh, computers are going to take over. They're not going to need people. People shifted. Somebody's still got to run these things, manage them. Somebody still has to come up with the ideas to tell them what to do.
Still cuts down a ton of the labor force.
Maybe cuts down a lot of like manual labor, but it'll just shift. I think you're still going to need just as many people.
So here's a question to piggyback on that. When the back in the day, horses were how people got around, right? Mm-hmm. And what was the? It was basically. Do you know, like in New York, how everything's like on a stoop, right? So like in New York, you have like stairs to get into every house. It's nothing.
It's
on
nice
a flat.
that it's on a stoop because New York is stupid.
Yeah,
Anyway.
well, I'm saying like all their houses that you have to walk up some stairs, right?
Gotcha.
Especially the older ones. Do you know why?
To clean up the horse crap?
To clean up the horse crap, right? Because there's so many horses and all that stuff. One invention, the car comes in, and within 5 years, useless, right? You don't need it, right? But you still have the stoops, right? You still have the steps, right? Question, with AI, as big of a boom as that is going to be, right? Because I'm assuming we're all comparing
Already
it.
is, yeah.
Right, but I'm assuming we're comparing it as a technology that changes the whole landscape
Like a
of things.
.com boom, yeah.
What do you think it's going to just get rid of?
AI?
Yeah, like so with AI as it develops, what do you think the things that's like pretty much in 5 years it's going to just disappear?
This is, I don't know if this is off topic, but probably movies.
Movies.
That's
Movies,
interesting
yeah.
because it can create
Because
it.
AI is getting to the point where it can create its own videos. It can create its own storyline. It can produce itself. So instead of
Okay.
needing all these like big star actors, I mean, you really just need a face on a screen.
That's true.
Yeah.
Maybe not in 5 years, but
Right, but-
eventually, I think how we view actors as this like big celebrities, star, that'll probably start to diminish.
I think writers, you'll start seeing that 100%. Actors are different because actors are still actors. Like they're the stars of it, right?
now.
But writers, 100% because they're in the back. They're just producing ideas. AI can produce some pretty good ideas.
Well, I think the biggest fear of AI, though, like the biggest detrimental blow that it's going to do is it removes people's need to think.
That's true.
So it's like when you don't need to think anymore, naturally you become dumber, you know? So
Yeah.
it's like the real threat to humanity isn't like, oh, AI is going to take over and it's going to do this. But no, what it's doing is it's vegetabilizing everybody because you don't have to think. It's instant information.
But that's been
and
the internet,
personalized
though.
information.
But that's been the internet, though. You know what I mean?
No, because
You think AI is bigger than history, like internet, computers, calculator?
look, if we want to get
That's
really
true. When people were like calculator came across, they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh my gosh, no one's gonna have to."
Going to school, we couldn't use calculators, right?
That's
I'm so off
true.
it. I'm talking to my little brother. He's what, 7th, 8th grade? Calculators. They can use computers.
no way.
Straight up.
He can use calculators and computers.
I'm just saying it's different. We were all told like, oh, you got to know this without a calculator. Now you have these kids using like AI's built into their curriculum.
Yeah. So what about like if you get a little bit spiritual with it, is AI gonna create modern day Babylon?
Like where everybody
Explain.
understands everyone.
Well, look, you basically get a supercomputer that can run variables for every scenario, and it completely unifies people. Like you can work in one thought stream under an AI. You know, like if you, for example, what Elon is creating with Neuralink, it's basically you're going to hook up AI into your brain. That's the main goal
Yeah.
of it. So it's like imagine you get onto one wavelength, one IP address, whatever you want to call it, and you're working in complete unity. And it's
Oh,
like,
man.
you know what I mean? If you
It's like a
have-
bunch of office
if you
workers
have
just
if you have the entire world working at one goal, bro, people are pretty unstoppable.
Do you think that's that's gonna happen?
I think AI is going to definitely be abused hardcore in the next 10 years.
Like
in
no, but I'm
terms of
asking
controlling
like
people,
a religion,
yeah.
not as a religion.
Yeah,
Oh, as
big
a-
time.
As a
Big
religion,
time. I think there's going to
You think it's
be.
gonna be the religion of AI?
Yeah, for sure.
well, no,
for sure.
What the Pope or someone was talking about it.
I
I don't know if it was the
about
Pope, but somebody was talking about like AI is basically the modern day God because it puts.
that. I have
everything-
heard that.
I've
Yeah.
heard that.
Yeah. So it's like
But do you think like that's something that people will aspire to?
I think it's gonna. It all goes back to what I said. I think it's naturally gonna happen because people are gonna become dumber and they're gonna rely on AI to think for them. So when AI tells them to do something, they're gonna do it.
I don't think it's gonna be like that.
So
Because
what?
you're talking like a thing. You're talking like more like the movie. You've seen like Idiocracy,
No,
where it's like everyone gets so dumb and like one guy
Sounds about right.
was in a coma for 600 years and he wakes up and he's the smartest person even though he's just some average guy. You've seen that? No.
but that sounds like what might happen.
I don't think that's gonna. I really don't think it's gonna happen. Because here's
Bro,
why.
okay,
Here's why. I think
for sure. Do you think people are getting stupider? I think the
No.
average person is getting stupider.
no.
Dude,
No.
that's
Okay,
crazy.
you're so okay, fine. 700 years ago, you think anybody knew to wash their hands all the time?
I hope so. But yeah, I do think 700 years ago people were washing their hands.
No.
That's a dumb question.
I don't think
First
they
of all,
understood germs.
No,
It's
they didn't
fairly
understand
new.
germs.
they didn't understand having dirt on their hands.
Dude, Europe,
Dirt,
do you know
but
why
like-
the plague wiped out so many
You
people?
sneeze on your
'Cause
hand.
Europeans naturally are disgusting still to this day, dude. They are, bro. They stink, bro. Like, that's gross. Actually funny.
No, it's because they didn't have an understanding of hygiene. They didn't know what
They
cells
still
were.
don't.
We're European, dude.
No, I'm American. You can
I'm
be
American, right? But our roots are okay. Whatever.
Dog.
Our
No.
roots aren't hygienic, but I
To
am.
say that, okay, here's the thing. I think there is more knowledge in the world now than there ever has been, okay? But I also think there is less wisdom and people actually use, because wisdom is how you use knowledge. I think people are using it much less.
Okay, then I agree. Maybe it's just a play on words then. I think
Well,
people
no,
are
it's
definitely going to be less wise because you can know everything, but if you don't do, like, it's just like,
I think there will be, I think no matter what you do, I think
what?
you're going to have people that are going to be very, very devoted to their God, and regardless of what comes along, even if what they're thinking is wrong, you have people that eat other people, and they're like, no, it's because God told us to.
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Let me retract the whole thing because it's not that they're going to get stupider, they're going to get lazier.
Lazier is a thing. Yeah.
Definitely lazier.
People, yeah.
Maybe more just content
see
with
that.
whatever's happening, and because everything's done for them.
It's the law of nature. Literally, it's the law of nature. Like, who are the most successful people? People that have neglected parenthood or have to figure things out themselves. They tend to be the more successful people. But it's like when you're given everything and you're coddled and you're a spoiled brat, you have these rich kids that their parents, give them $1 million credit card and they can spend whatever they want. They turn out to be the dumbest, most lazy people. But they have everything. They have every tool in the arsenal.
My wife and I were talking about this literally last night. We were talking about the greatest generation, right? The greatest generation.
The boomers.
No, before them. Just before them. Or just after them. This is greatest after or before?
The World War II generation. I don't know.
I don't know.
The greatest generation is
maybe the one
that
right
Jesus
before.
lived in.
It's the one. It's the one that built the Hoover Dam, built the interstate system. Built
I
all-
seen this
all of
too.
that,
I was
right?
looking into it, and what
That
happened right
built-
before?
Built the Empire State Building. They built everything, right? And so it's this aspect. Well, no. You take even just the average. What were you gonna say?
Well, you know what happened right before all of that was built?
What?
The Great Depression.
Yeah, no. I was
These-
just.
yeah.
I was gonna get there, but the thing is, like, well, that comes back to that quote of hard times, strong men type of thing.
Yeah, but it's like,
But the thing is, like, you look at it now, you had 18-year-olds going to war. Like, think about it. Like, D-Day, I started looking into it. Dude, as you get older, man, you definitely get a little, you get the tism for like, war stuff. You definitely do.
history.
No, it's cool. It's cool because I started, like, looking into, like, D-Day specifically, just for some reason.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Did you know 1 million people died on that
one
day?
day.
That's so sad.
1 million people.
it's crazy.
It's less that it's sad. It's such a crazy number that, like, and these are all men that are trying to fight some evil from America. And also, but on the flip side, you had people there that were also,
These
were
are young
trying to
people, right?
destroy. Yeah. And so, like, okay, so I was talking to my wife about it. I was like, dude, there's that. People are 18, 19 years old doing that. 18, 19-year-olds now are making TikToks. What the fudge?
Product
like,
of their
what is going
environment.
on, man? Like,
product of their
so that's
environment.
back to his point of, like, people are
Yeah.
going to get lazier because they're going to get more comfortable.
Unless
right?
there's World War III here in any minute. You think there will be World War III?
No.
You really don't think
I
there's going
think
to be another World War?
Well, I think the next World War will be the last one.
I mean, yeah.
You think
probably.
like mutual destruction's what's going to happen?
Yeah. Because so there's this thing called, again, I was looking into it. There's called the dead hand.
I have a lot of time on your hands to look into things, huh?
No, okay.
The life of an
Russia.
entrepreneur.
Can't respond on the podcast text.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Russia has this thing back during the Cold War, right? Technically World War III. They had this thing called the dead hand, right? And the dead hand was basically there was, they had seismic sensors in Russia, built in Russia, right? Hundreds of them, or maybe 100, but like tens of them, right? All over. And basically these sensors would, if enough of them triggered, it would automatically trigger nuclear warheads to shoot
It's a
off.
dead man switch.
It's a dead. They called it the dead hand. So even if you kill us, our dead hand will get you.
Wow.
So it's
That's
this.
crazy. That for sure still exists. Then.
It's 100%
For
exists.
sure. Probably
100%
everywhere
country,
now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so it's like that aspect where it's like the next war is going to be the last
Kill
one
us,
because
we'll kill you too.
yeah. Well, if I'm dead,
Who cares?
I don't care,
Yeah.
right?
Dang, that's awful.
It's a crazy thing.
People have no, what is it, morals anymore.
No, it's not that. It's dictatorship. Because like when you
You
start-
think America doesn't have that kind of stuff?
Okay,
America
hold up.
does-
Hold
You
up.
think
So
China
let's-
doesn't have
Let's
it?
discuss this.
Korea's.
Hold up. You said morals. You said dictatorship. Okay. Let's phrase it differently. If you and your family is dying and you know who's going to kill you, but you have no control, you cannot stop it. Let's just say that. You cannot stop it. No matter what you do, you can't stop it. But you have the choice to after retaliate. Are you?
Yes.
Absolutely, but it's circumstantial. It's circumstantial. Because it's
Why?
like as a dictator, as a president, you are literally made a slave of the people. You're supposed to be made a slave of the people, right? So you have to keep the greater good in mind. Like you can't just be like, if this dude comes at me, I'm going to nuke him.
The greater
even-
good for your people.
The greater good for your people is what? If I die, I'm going to nuke the crap out of the world. That is not
I die if my people die.
Yeah, I think
you don't
have
think
to have
everyone
a little
feels
bit
like
more
that?
of a level head. Bro, I would not do that. If I was a president, I should not be the president because if people were saying, I'm going to nuke.
I'm doing it. If I know my entire country has been obliterated, do I think that my country would want to retaliate? Yeah, I think they would. Hypothetically, let's say someone knocks. You don't think the U.S. has a dead hand? Of course they do.
Of course they do.
They've got dead body, brother. Everything's dead.
Right, they're a live hand.
Well, if you think about it,
Before it even happens,
if you look into it, RFK kind of did something like that, where when Russia threatened to put nukes in Cuba or something like that.
JFK.
Did I say RFK?
You did. Yeah, he took
RFK.
the sugar out the Coke.
Yeah, but when JFK did this, when Russia, it was during the Cold War, and there was reports that Russia was putting nukes in Cuba, JFK straight up said, I don't care. If I find this out, I'm nuking them, no matter what happens. You remember that?
I don't recall that. I don't have the exact quote on that.
I just recently that came up, and it was like this history overview where JFK was like this crazy, like JFK today would be. Can we talk about this? Can we talk about
Why not?
JFK?
It's been over 50 years.
I just
right?
don't want to get banned again.
Dude, who cares? Who cares?
But I don't know. He seemed like a crazy, like dope president. Like he was like mess with the bull, get the horns, you know,
So-
type of thing.
Did we actually get the JFK files?
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
But a ton of it was classified, and we don't really know what happened.
So no, it's all declassified. So basically, have you looked into it?
Yeah, it's super.
I legit have no idea.
Super pawned
I
off,
saw like the giant headline saying that it's going to get released, and I never looked into it after
it's
that.
exactly what you think, though.
It's
Deep down, it's exactly what
It's
you think.
okay. So okay, no. Hold up,
it
hold
is,
up. Okay,
bro.
no, you guys are conspiracy theorists. What actually happened, and this is from a take from a guy that was in the military.
What do the papers say?
This is for the guy that was in the military. Rocky was talking about. By the way, Rocky.
I
if he was-
loved his explanation on this.
He took. So this is what it said, and this is legit. There was no second shooter that the CIA sent. Not that there wasn't, but there was nothing that the CIA sent or the FBI or whatever it is, which that was the big thing. He acted alone. However, he was also a part of the CIA's program. So you know what roofies are?
The drugs?
So the date rape drug, right?
Yeah,
Roofies. They were invented by the CIA
Yes.
originally as an attempt for mind control.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so he was one of the original people that was a part of this group
Isn't that crazy?
that was also sent to Russia for certain things that were not like. It's not that they were classified, but they weren't even explained. They were just like, this is this, right? And so I'm assuming that program is classified, but this, you know. But the thing is, he was a part of that. So a guy that was in the military, his take on it was the guy did act alone. He did pull the trigger and he did shoot. However, he was definitely one of the people that was under the influence of a
MK
potential, potential mind, like something. So it was, you know, that aspect. I find it
makes a lot of
interesting.
sense.
Yeah, I still think there's a second shooter. There's no way bullets don't break like that. There's so many, like the fragment.
Wait, are you saying you're a conspiracy theorist?
No, I just think there was a second shooter.
Well, that's how it starts.
Welcome to the dark side, Edward.
You're getting there. Yeah. No, MK Ultra was. I for sure believe that. 100%. CIA was doing a lot of stuff with MK with mind control. That
I
was
bet you they figured it out too.
Of course. And it's not at all what we think.
They don't just drop.
I don't think it's at all what we think it is. I think it's very spiritual, and I think it's very dark, and I think it's got a lot of roots in occult stuff. But that's for another podcast. Just look up MK Ultra.
Look up sidetracked a little bit.
Yeah, look up MK Ultra. The CIA had a whole like court hearings about it. They said they ended it, but I think they just covered it up and moved on. You're asking the wrong person. I'm such a conspiracy theorist.
I don't even
like. I'm going to get into like UFOs and abductions and mind control.
So this is David's
far
last
beyond.
episode on the Part One podcast.
Cut this. You don't want this in here. We'll talk about this off camera.
Yeah, I just wonder if like the CIA cold calls people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Hey, this is Agent John. We seen your credentials. You're a good sharpshooter. We'd love for you to come in for an interview with the CIA.
Do you still like you did the recycling thing? Do you still cold call? Like, have you done that part of the business?
Yeah, so I'm actually right now in the thick of the cold calling. And like when I first started White Spider, my cold calling was different because I wasn't cold calling for sales or I guess it is kind of the same, but it was cold calling companies that already are in this niche of like printers and computers and stuff like that, and I'll try to get product from them. But now with the recycling, we have a team that cold calls all the businesses, especially locally, like colleges, the government. We cold call the government straight up. Like
what does that mean? Like
Government.
you just call the governor?
no,
What's up, Pete Ricketts?
So there's
Some Ricketts.
I don't want to give a shout out to any of these platforms because they ain't paying me for it, and I'm about that. So there is programs where they use like this tool that scrubs like email signatures, and in the email signatures they're able to get your phone number, your personal line, your direct email, and then you buy this program and it gives you all these people information. Like you can look up a massive company. You could look up UPS and you could figure out the CEO's email and his number. Basically, we use a program like that and we make a lead gen list. And
That's a thing?
That's a thing.
Whoa.
Super dope.
You have to tell me what it is.
Yeah. I wish I created it. 'Cause
That's so
legit.
cool.
That's super
Sounds
tight.
so illegal. Wow.
Yeah.
Is it legit?
It is definitely legit. The name, I'll tell you guys the name after. It's like a humongous company. Like they definitely
That's super cool.
Yeah.
That's
So
very cool.
I don't know, and I've been hopping on some of these cold calls too. You know, it's my roots. I love sales. I love cold calling. That's what I like. The fruit of everything came from that. But yeah, it's just weird because it's a different like approach now. Because when I cold call, I'm providing a service to these companies where I'm like, hey, we'll come in and we'll take all your tech. Don't throw it away. We'll destroy all the data, and that's what we do at Precision E-Cycles. Like we destroy all the data, DoD wipe it, all of that stuff. So I do a lot of cold calling now, and I love it. I actually love cold calling. If I can cold call all day, I think I'd be pretty happy. It does take a mental toll. People not answering, people not replying does get annoying.
What's a bad experience with cold calling? Give me one.
I was trying to get to the director of a big hospital. It's crazy. Yes, this one is like burnt into my mind. And this hospital I've been really wanting to close. I'm still trying to close it to this day, and I will get it. But I figured out who holds the contract for all the recycling. And I was like searching everywhere. This is before I had this platform that I use for all that information. And I found who it is and this lady, and I found a number, and I was like, this is the number. And I called this number, and her husband picks up.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and I'm like, I do
You
my
were
pitch.
so close.
I do this pitch, and he's like, how did you get this number?
That's
And I was
the
like,
best. That's the worst response.
yeah, I knew I was cooked after that. And I was like, oh, I'm just trying to reach her for like this recycling contract. And he's like, yeah, well, you called her husband, bud. And
He
I
called
said,
you bud?
dude. And
Oh, man.
I definitely cracked a little bit because you know what I did? I doubled down. I said, hey, can you
Champ.
pass my information down to her?
I bet he loved that. He's like, yeah, for sure.
That's exactly what happened. He's like, yeah, I'll definitely get it to her. And then hung up. And I was like, man, does he think I was like,
Let me call him back real quick just to make sure I didn't even give him the information.
I'll text him.
I was like, dang, bro. The moment that story gets to her, blacklisted for sure.
So who's this guy? Calling you, middle of the night.
Yeah, dude. And it was a bad time, too. I think I called it like the end of the day. And it's just not a good time.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever cold call? Have you ever had to cold call for trucking?
No. Oh, so yeah, we have. The times we've had to cold call, that I've personally cold called, and it's so little. It's so little because our business is much less. It's more like meet the need. We go to the market, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
What does
there's-
that mean? Go to the market.
So
Like, is
there's
there
load board.
market.com?
Yeah. So there's load boards,
Oh,
right?
shoot, there is.
And
That is
so
easy, bro.
yeah, well,
The work's done for you.
bro.
yeah, it's super easy. But the
cool.
thing is, the big ones, the ones that you really want to find, you never know which one it is.
Mm-hmm.
You just sometimes sooner or later you find that person that owns that contract, and then it blows up into something.
Is there a company that you're trying to get?
There is.
I can get you all the information you
I'm gonna ask you about it right after, straight up.
Yeah, I can actually get you all their
There's
numbers,
two.
all their emails. Yeah.
There's three.
Yeah.
There's actually three.
I'll send
big
you a
ones.
list.
I pay such a dumb amount of money to this company, so let's get our value out.
Dude.
I could look up 2,000 companies. So, like, to get through 2,000, like, my sales team is 2 people, you know. So, for us to get through 2,000 people, unheard of. But it renews every month, you know.
That's crazy,
Yeah,
dude.
it's
I'm
pretty dope.
I'm
There's
gonna
a
put together a
big
list.
one. There's a really. That's such a crazy.
Software?
That's insane because like
It
you
seems
look
illegal,
for that
right?
person. You look for that
Okay,
person.
Yeah.
like it scrubs email. Like, don't you need passwords and stuff to get into emails?
So, no, when you put an email signature and you send an email to somebody,
Yeah,
you're giving out that information voluntarily.
to that person.
To that person, but Google has it. So if it,
Everything
if
is
it,
tracked, bro.
If it hits
I
a
know,
Gmail,
but like,
if it
aren't there
hits a
privacy
Gmail-
laws against this?
Right, but if it hits a Gmail and
I'm
then
sure there
oh,
is,
can I?
but-
Dude, I this close to getting scammed again.
You're a scammable person. I'm gonna scam you.
I can tell you how it happened. I can tell you how it happened.
Actually, I owe Advantage for a load.
It's by
I'm actively scamming.
It's
Advantage.
by White Spider. It's literally it was a phishing email.
Oh, you rookie, bruh.
So here's how it happened.
Don't
No.
open the
I'll tell you
email.
how it happened. Okay, when there's a bad review that comes in, I'm the one who deals with it.
That sucks. I hate dealing with that.
Right, but I'm the one who deals with it. Right,
What's your conversion rate? Like, do you always
100%. I can't not.
I'm
I
gonna
can't
leave
not.
a bad review, and you will not get it removed.
I can't not. So this is what happens. Just random review, okay, that we get from a company that we've never worked with before. Red flag, yes, but we have been hit with bad reviews by companies we've never worked with before, and they meant to leave it for somebody else.
Where is this review hitting?
Are they
On
baiting you, or are
DAT,
they?
on the
so
load
it's a
board?
big one.
On the load board.
So it matters.
And on our load board, reviews are 100%. Like they're 5 stars, 100%
Nice.
for the last 12 years. Okay.
What's the requirement?
There's no requirement. You could have 0 stars. There are some really big
know, but
companies.
like-
There's some big companies. No. It's up to. There's some really big companies that have terrible. Like they have 2 stars, but they have like 3,000 reviews, and it's like it's big for them.
So they definitely suck.
Well, everyone still uses them because they're like it's TQL.
yeah.
It's specifically TQL.
TQL?
TQL. Yeah.
Makes sense.
But the thing is, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but anyway, this email comes in. It looks exactly how the other emails come in when this happens, right? And so I press on the email because there's a thing that says reply, right? Press on it. I have to log in. I log in to do my
To your Gmail?
no,
your email?
no, to the load board.
Oh, okay.
To the load board. It was in the morning, so like I had to log in anyway.
Yeah. It was a fake login page.
Dude, you're such a rookie.
So I log in. So here's hold on.
I would have done the same thing though.
I log in. I've done it. I've responded to reviews before the same exact way.
Yeah.
Press on it, load board, log in, go in, right? This was on a Monday. So it was over the weekend. Stuff was signed out already. Okay. I log in. It doesn't quite get me there. I'm like, okay, whatever. Close out of it. I just find the company. I call the company, right? Directly. I call him and he's like, and I finally get someone in compliance. They had like 400 trucks or something like that.
I could have helped you with that. You could have saved a bunch of time. I could have given you their direct number.
I bet you could have.
This company should make me an affiliate.
I talk with them. I literally talk with them. They're like, no one like that works here. That's got to be a scam. No one's left anything. Okay, whatever. The next day, I call our biggest customer, like literally the biggest one. I just call him. It's from C.H. Robinson, by the way. Call him. I'm like, hey, and there's like a specific favor I was going to ask him. Totally unrelated. He's like, and this is how he greets me. He's like, hey, what's up, man? I just submitted those 2 bids that you just asked about. That's literally how he is. And I'm like, what 2 bids? He's like, you emailed me about two specific loads that you were asking about. I was like,
Got hacked.
when? He's like, no lie, 3 minutes ago. I was like, I haven't sent you anything. He's like, you messing with me right now? Like, it's your email. He forwards it to one of my dispatchers here. I look at it, I'm like, yeah, that's my email, like 100%. I'm like, okay, just ask some questions for, as I'm asking questions, I was like, send me a test email, just to me directly. Sends a test email. As we're on the phone, he sends test, and it's a response. It's, oh, did you book those loads yet? Ooh. As I'm on the phone with him. Then next thing I know, another random rate confirmation comes in to our email. Random, we're not even in the area. Just comes in. I'm like, oh snap! We call the company immediately. Immediately, everyone
Changes the
passwords, switches 2-point authentication. I sign out of every. I found when I was going through the sign out of every device, I found an iPhone 11, just a random iPhone 11. I've never signed in on an iPhone 11, but whatever. That was actively signed in. And anyway.
Bro,
as it goes deeper,
God
all
you
this
called
stuff.
them. Wow.
Well, he's like, the timing on that is crazy because he's like, I got an email 3 minutes ago. He's like,
wow.
They locked the account and everything like that. He's like, essentially, because C.H. Robinson, the way it works is that same. Unfortunately, I use the same email and password for their portal as I did for this. They could have went in, and C.H. Robinson has this aspect. If you're a high enough graded carrier on their platform, you can auto book. And you can also auto pull money codes from them based on the load. So if the load's $5,000, right? Yeah. You can pull like $1,200, $1,500 immediately. And you can do that on hundreds of loads.
Dude, do you guys not have like security?
We do. But
when they have your emails and passwords.
Do you have like an IT team that's specifically? Like y'all should. You're definitely like growing out of that small business phase here.
Yeah,
pretty
maybe we
quickly.
should. We don't have like something specific. When we have like security
Yeah,
stuff.
he
but,
don't
like,
have nothing. We have like anti-security like.
Yeah,
stuff.
sure.
Gmail privacy law.
But like, no. Here's the thing. That happened, and I was like, holy crap. The fact that nothing came of it. Everything was good. But
Your info's definitely in this
Bro.
program. They definitely.
100%. 100%.
They got it all.
Dang, that's
But
crazy.
yeah, nuts. It happened yesterday or Monday.
Dang. Yeah, dude, phishing is on the rise for sure. We get a bunch of emails. Our emails look like, "Hey, I never got the printer for this order," and then it just has this random link. And it sounds like a customer, and dude, they've been coming in pretty hardcore now. But now we're like, you have to always watch. If it sounds like super fishy, it is super
Yeah,
fishy.
the scams we get, it's the same
might
one
have
over
deleted-
and over. It's like, hey, we need 1,000 shirts. Here's the design, and they're very specific, like as if they know what they're doing. Gildan, they tell you the exact model of the shirt they want, how many, what size, and they're like, send us an invoice that we can pay ACH, and we'll get it paid right away. And then you can take 10 weeks to deliver this. That's fine. And what they do is,
when it's too good to be true.
Yeah.
Well, how
Yeah.
do they make money on it?
so you send them an invoice for 10K,
Yeah.
and they pay it for ACH. ACH takes 2 days to withdraw.
Yeah.
So you get the 10K, you spend the money, and then 2 days later it bounces.
I've had that.
So it
happen
goes
to
right
us
back to their
before.
account out of your account.
Yeah.
No. Let's say you don't spend. Oh, okay. Well, so if you
If you don't spend,
if
yeah,
you don't know.
yeah.
Bro, we had that where
bounce. You get 2 days.
People tried to buy laptops from us, and they're like, they sent us a check,
Yeah.
like a cashier's check,
That's how they used to do
and we
it.
put it in, and then it bounces 2 days later, right? And we're like, this is the one time we were supposed to ship overnight. We failed to do so, but it was a good thing because that very next day the check bounced, and I was like, that's a good thing we were late on this order.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that like aspect, like, especially dude with insurance, and we can kind of start wrapping up too.
Yeah, I just want to know what kind of piece of crap people make their business off scamming people.
Pisses me off.
Like, how do you do you look at yourself in the mirror and be like, man, I'm making it. I just scammed.
These are just like giant like call centers that have 100
Oh,
employees that do this
Let
stuff
me
all
add
day.
on. Let me add on to that. That is what it is. So one of the rate confirmations that came in, and we caught it very early.
Yeah.
One of the rate confirmations that came in, we talked with them, and we're like, does it just on email? And he's like, it was mostly on email. He's like, but there was a call that came in. I was like, give me that number, right? So I had one of my guys get the number. I call it. Someone picks up. You know what? I still have that number.
Call it. Call it right now.
gonna call it
Call
right
it
now.
right now on the
Oh my
podcast.
goodness.
Put that junk on speaker.
I gotta find it, but
Man, I wonder if they have an accent.
because we didn't put because he had to tell me.
They definitely got an accent.
It was
you scamming people,
dude.
You got
it
an
was some
accent,
sweatshop in Mumbai and like no, for real. I'm gonna find it right now.
Yeah,
There it
bro.
is
Do it.
from Shamokin, PA.
Call it.
I'm calling right now.
Put it on speaker. This is crazy.
and they're gonna pick up.
Unless they blocked me, which
I'm gonna call him on my number.
Book a load.
It's okay. Hang up. Give me the number. Let me see the number. I'm gonna call him on my side.
Oops.
Maybe they're sleeping. Maybe they got so many calls coming in. They're
Maybe
like,
they've
"Oh,
made
we're
enough
busy."
money for this week.
Guess it's not happening.
Not meant to be.
Not meant to be. But I called
Hopefully,
it.
he doesn't attack me now that I called him from my phone.
I called it.
Gotcha.
And immediately, like, it was like a bunch of commotion in the back, very heavy Indian, like Pakistani accent, like a very, like,
Do you
dude.
think they think it's wrong? Because there's a lot of.
I
that
think they
stuff.
know. I think they just don't care
I
because
think
it's
they don't
so
care.
normal
Well,
there.
There's, so straight up, this is, okay, I don't want to get into religion, but there's, like, there are certain aspects where it's like, if it means certain religions, let's just say that, have certain virtues in them that if it means feeding your family, it's okay to steal.
Okay, would you steal to feed your family?
No, but they take it to another level. It's not like bread. It's
Shit,
like
you getting robbed, bro.
it's like, hey, I need to provide everything. So we're just gonna be stealing from people, doing the IRS
Yeah, when that's
scams.
your like means.
No, but that's how they justify it. They're like,
Yeah.
that's how I steal. So it's not I'm stealing bread. I'm
so
stealing money.
they actually don't think it's morally
straight
wrong.
up. There's
I thought it was like it's morally wrong.
There's
but
many
like,
that do.
I gotta do
There's
it.
many that do, but there are many that I've talked to. Like this is why like there's people here in the U.S. Let's just say, no joke, the amount that they scam in their taxes, like they'll be like, hey, this dude's single, straight up. They're like, this dude's single. Let's run all of our money through his taxes, all of them, right? Because we all work in the same industry. They're all gonna go through him, right? He's going to get a huge tax bill. We're going to help him out with the tax bill, but we're going to all put our families on like government assistance, government Medicare, Medicaid, all this stuff, get huge, you know, helps on that and like stuff like, but that's
that
how
makes me really mad.
well,
Dang.
it's no, you know what I mean? But the thing is like it's justified because like, their justification, which I don't like taxes enough that they're like, dude, it's taxes. And I'm like, okay, you're right. Taxation is theft. You're right.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that.
Yeah, but like if I'm doing my fair share, then I don't expect some dude.
All I'm saying is
Running 30 families.
We threw a fit over a 2% tax on tea, and now we get taxed on everything.
I've been saying for my whole adult life, bring back tar and feathering. Might not be such a bad idea.
That's crazy.
Such an insane thing.
Look, you held politicians accountable.
What a nutty
That's
thing
it.
to say at the end of the podcast.
Yeah, for real. You guys know who Marcus Aurelius is?
I do.
I hate the Stoics, but I love the Stoics because a lot of the Stoics were super demonic. Like they really were if you read their books. But Marcus Aurelius, but
he
got the hardest lines
he's the
ever, bro.
he's the champion of Stoicism. Like he is the guy that you are looking at. If you're a Stoic or into Stoicism, you're looking at his stuff all the time.
Well, we're gonna wrap up this podcast right now.
Okay.
My line to you guys is quoted by Marcus Aurelius. What are you so scared of losing if nothing in the world belongs to you? That's it.